have the three most recent chairs of the ALAC, the At-Large Advisory Committee, with us. It's Cheryl London-Orr, Alan Greenberg, and Olivier Crepelin-Blond. Cheryl, you are the earliest chair in this group. So how would you describe the role of at-large community in ICANN?
Right. We have had long conversations about this, and during our very first ALAC review, we agreed as a community that what we were doing was acting in the best interests of the internet end user and the individual domain name registrant. So overarching, that is our job.
Alan, what do you think?
Well, that's certainly the right answer. As an overview, that doesn't really tell people what we do. What we do within ICANN in general, we are officially an advisory committee, but the bulk of our time is not spent in advising the board or other groups, but actively participating in the various processes. So we feel that the best way we can represent the interests of users, we can make sure that the needs of users do show up in the policies that ICANN develops, is to be there on the ground, actively working with the rest of the community and making sure that when the policies come out, they will meet the needs of the users.
Yeah.
And I guess the important thing about that is that in order to get the input from the community, you also need to go out there and search for it. And that's where our outreach part comes from. We really have to go out there, search for new people that are interested in ICANN, that are interested in the processes, and that will then be able to contribute.
Thank you. So due to the outreach work, I think At-Large just reached one of the most recent milestones of passing 200 at-large structures. So what is it like to be a chair for such a diverse community? Alan, what do you think?
Oh, I don't think there's a single word. Certainly, it's empowering, because when you can use all of the resources that are out there, it's a lot more than any single individual can do. It is exhilarating at times, because sometimes it really all pulls together and works, and it's a challenge. We're dealing with a very diverse community. Actually getting them to come to a common end means compromise, it means adjusting people's views, and that's always difficult. But when you do it, that's great.
It's actually also a huge responsibility, and one that I know as leadership we've always taken very, very seriously. I mean, we are part of a key voice coming in to the mainstay of ICANN's policy development work, as well as advice we may give in a formal sense. And it's being, as Alan was saying earlier, engaged, bringing opinion and voice to the table, taking questions and concerns back to the edge communities through our at-large structures and things like that. So it's a very privileged position to be in, and it's one that I think each of us have tried to make sure we leave our personal views and baggage, even the views and opinion of groups we would normally represent, at the meeting room door, and we act with independence and impartiality to make sure consensus is a full reflection. But it's also an awful lot of fun.
I've heard Alan say that it was exhilarating. You know, some days you'll cry, some days you'll be delighted about the effect and what's going on, and you'll think, wow, it actually really works. But it's extremely challenging, and I would just call it the ride of your life.
That's true. Very good term.
So speaking of challenges, looking ahead, what do you think are the challenges and opportunities for at-large community?
Well, I guess I just alluded to them in the last answer. The challenges and the opportunities go together. We're dealing with a lot of different people who have very strong needs, not always the same. Getting them to come together, it's something, I think, akin to raising children, that you put a lot of effort into it and then you cross your fingers and hope that at the end they come out right and they come out good, and you never can quite predict how they're going to come out. But if you're lucky and maybe a bit of skill, it works well. So challenges, opportunities, they're all merged together.
I guess the opportunity is really to showcase that the multi-stakeholder model actually can work. And you know what? It does. And that's what I find really amazing about it.
Look, some of the challenges are still linked to the enormity of the task we have. You know, we're representing the best interests of, or we're acting in the best interests of the billions of people on the internet, as well as those yet to join the internet. And that in itself is a challenge, but of course that means we need to look at the diversity of the cultures we have to think about, the diversity of the languages we need to work in. So there's logistical challenges like that. But the opportunities are, of course, to get that right. And I actually think that this multi-stakeholder model, perhaps under the guidance of chairs like you're looking at now, and I'm so many years away I can say that, we're an important part of ICANN getting the multi-stakeholder voice out of the edge communities of internet users and individual registrants to the table.
Thank you very much, Cheryl, Alan, and Olivia, for your time and great insights. Thank you.
Delighted.